explain what I mean by this or whatever. And it's kind of amazing because, hold on one second, let me share this. It's kind of amazing because I noticed something the other day. And I don't think a lot of other people notice it, don't want to notice it. I just can't take the time to notice it, right? But I'm starting to see that, and I'm talking about specifically, y'all give me 1 second here. I'm just making sure I share everything because I want to get into this, but I want to make sure everybody, I just wanted to make sure everybody knew where I was at or whatever. Your girl West, what's going on? Blessings. All right, so check this out. Do you feel, and many of y'all as YouTubers, I'm specifically talking to YouTubers, right? And specifically minority YouTubers to be exact. That's anything that fits the diaphragm of black, Latin, whatever, right? How many of you, and I want to specifically garner this down to really gender. I mean, this is what the topics are about right now. And I don't want to pretend to sit here and act full and act like I know it all or whatever, because I don't. There's a lot of things I don't know. But one thing I do know is when I center in on something and I see something, I know when it sounds and it looks funny to me. All right. And one of the funny things that I saw was there are literally women and men that are going around the internet. And if they hear something or don't like something or whatever the case may be, their first content is, let me go over to that person's page and now tell him what he's doing wrong, what she's doing wrong. And if they don't want to adhere to what I'm saying, then I'm going to start a campaign. And that campaign is going to be based off of, we're going to get them out of here. Hey, girl. Shout out to Annette today donating to me. I appreciate that a lot. Make sure y'all all encouraged to donate to me as well as y'all coming in. $ STRINGERBELL80. There's also links for PayPal and GoFundMe in the description box. And if you leave me a crazy message on GoFundMe and think you're gonna get away with it, I will report you to GoFundMe. They will tattle in your email address and you will be banned from ever having any type of format on GoFundMe. You will also be banned, particularly and perhaps from YouTube as well. So I just want to let you know I'm going in on that. I had somebody hit me up and tell me, and this is the reason I'm doing this. And I shared it, ironically enough, with Annette. Actually, I was actually trying to send her something else, and I was trying to show her how so many people online daily, especially since I increased followers and everything like that, they some reason or another want to have this online campaign to get rid of me or stop me from asking for donations or whatever. And this woman, she wrote me, well, I think it's a woman, it might be a man. I spoke about this earlier, but I just want to go a little bit more into detail. So she wrote me a letter, a comment rather, and she wrote it in the GoFundMe. She didn't write it down below. I got somebody that's a verified witness. Usually I keep this stuff to myself. And she wrote it within there. She said, you're not, she started out with, you're not very handsome. Then after that, she said, you're not very smart or articulate either. And I said, oh, wow. And I said, you base this off what? I didn't give you a chance to answer that. I don't know who this person is, whatever. They then proceeded to tell me when my birthday was. They proceeded to tell me how old I was, what I need to do, what I don't need to do, and how I need to be doing it. And I need to get on and all this other stuff or whatever. Mind you, that same person would go to their favorite YouTuber's page and donate, sit there and listen to what they have to say and everything else, right? So I knocked that off the bat. Then they told me, yo, you need to go do this instead. And every time I hear that registry of voice, it always reminds me and is reminiscent of this. This is somebody trying to get you out of the way because either they're fearful of what you're saying or either two, they just don't like you. You understand? And the way the person was putting it and wording it or whatever, they were trying to put it and word it as a person that was familiar with me, like somebody I hung out with. And for all I know, it might be. You're still making an assumption, but that's okay. But this was somebody trying to police me. You understand what I'm saying? It's bad enough that we already got YouTube policing us, what you can say, what you can't say, what you can put up, what you can't put up, whether they find whatever you put up is known to be blocked or whatever the case may be, a flag. The people are available to flag you on a repeated basis or whatever, but the YouTube does nothing about them, but they want to make sure they have all conditioning to the person that flagged you or whatever. Yeah, that's pretty much how it rolls, right? These people that are running around trying to police people like they policed Andrew Tate and told Andrew Tate, you can't say this, you can't say that. And don't go over to TikTok. That's the worst place to be. Shout out to Just Pearly Things. I'm sad to hear you got banned over there. Shout out to Fresh and Fit. I'm sorry to hear y'all got banned over there. Many others that went over to TikTok, including myself, and put up something that was against the foray of the sisterhood and got blocked, terminated, or their likes or whatever they uploaded afterwards would get significantly lower views than that one based on a flag or whatever the case may be. I still sit to this day and say I think that TikTok is really a feminism utensil. It seems like you can go on TikTok and say anything you want to against men. You can call them jerks. You can call them all kinds of names. You can call them broke. The woman in the letter that wrote to me, or the note that got wrote to me, she said, I'm dusty. That shit don't bother me. You got to say more than that. The dusty. And then you look at the person that's saying it, and then you got to say, oh, okay, it makes sense now. It makes sense now. Usually you got to remember, a lot of times when you hear these women saying these things to you, take a look at who's saying it to you. That's all you got to do. Just take a look at who's saying it to you. Let me tell you something, lady that wrote that. I think her name is Madeline. Your composure, your capacity, your measurements, or anything in life don't matter a shit to me. Okay, that's first of all. I have been all throughout this beautiful life, and including now, as a man that's in his 40s, and I'm still attract women that are in their 20s and 30s to this day. That's pretty much my age and aging range. I'm not an old man, you know what I'm saying? Even if I was 50, which I'm not, but even if I was 50, I still wouldn't be an old man. You know what I mean? Compared to a 50-year-old woman. And I think that's where the contention comes in too. We have a lot of these women and men, both, that run around and for some reason or another, they believe that they can police Black and Latin people on YouTube. Now, there's already the guys, if you're not following me, are being policed by YouTube and Google. But now I have to worry about a secondary fraction coming in and try to police me. All meaning the while, I'm trying to get out things and things that you might have not even thought about as a culture, as a community, or whatever. And some people, they get upset by things I say about Black people or whatever. They get upset things I say about Latin people. Oh, fucking well. You know what? Maybe you need to hear that. Your uncles would have told you stuff like that at one time. My uncles would have told me stuff like that at one time. What the fuck are you doing? What are you doing? And it seems like you guys, us guys, and I say you guys that are involved in that. I don't mean as a race. I mean you guys as whatever. And I'm not kissing your ass either. There's a whole bunch of shit I don't like that Black people do or Latin people do. I think it's disgusting. I think you need to cut it out. But regardless of the engagement of the behavior, this particular one is kind of set in my mind because I've seen this not only be done to me, I've seen this done to other YouTubers where you have a set of people that go over and they hear something within the diatribe or whatever that podcast or that YouTuber is saying, and they get upset. Oh, we got to get them offline. They a hassle. Mind you, a lot of the tenets of what this person is saying, a lot of times you were already following them or whatever, but they said something about your favorite YouTuber. Now it's your job to go over as an individual and a fan, because that's what you are. It's your individual duty now, you feel, to go over to that person's page and let's flag them. Let's tell their donators, don't donate to them. Let's make sure that we destroy them. This is the same thing they try to do to Andrew Tate, same thing they try to do to a couple other people. They try to destroy you. So if you don't carry the message that we want you to carry, not only will we demonetize you, and stop you from getting any money, but what we'll also do is this. We'll shut you all the way down. We'll make it so it's so uncomfortable for you to come on YouTube that you will never want to come here again. And there's a lot of hypocrisy within that because if you go to these people's pages, one of the times what you'll see is they have no chill factor. They'll talk about you. They'll talk about your show. They'll encourage people not to donate to you like they did to me. You know what I mean? They will tell the race and culture of people as it was put to me in this little note that was sent to me. And I wish you stopped speaking Spanish. You Black like us. Oh, man. You know how many times I've heard that one? Ask any Latino that's dark skinned or whatever the case may be. Ask any Black Latino how many times they've heard that shit and got grouped in. Well, you just like us. No, I'm not like you. And in many ways, I'm not like you. And you'll find that out if you were around me long enough. I'm not like you. And that's not an insult. It's just reality. But another thing I hate is this. These same people that come to your page and try to police you always notice one thing. They don't have much going on. They don't have a lot of followers. They don't have a lot of people that interact with them in the chat room or in the comment section. They don't have a lot of views. And quite honestly, most of the time, just like Fresh and Fit said earlier today, I found out, and I had to realize this myself when they were doing their own little special rendition of talking about what was going on with Andrew Tate. It's not whether or not you like Andrew Tate or you like his message or what he says. It's the fact that he has a right to say it. And I see men's rights to say what they want to say are being dissolved quickly and quickly. And in fact, the Declaration of Independence, freedom of speech, all these tenets were written by white men, old men at the time. That's that. Men. So the same tenets you're using against men today in society were actually created by men. I would say you do need men. The same people that you go and you complain about at YouTube, which I know two big people up at YouTube. They can't do so much for me because Google still owns it. But I know two people up at YouTube that are very powerful men in their own regards. Even when you go complain, you're going to complain to a man. And you're hoping that that man has sympathy and empathy to your victimhood based on the fact of you saying, he said something I didn't like. Sounds real fourth gradish when it's put that way, right? He said something I didn't like. I don't like him. Flag. And you let your emotions get in the way of the better judgment of things. When in fact, a lot of these people that you're following have been saying messages all along that was the base point of you coming and following them in the first place. A lot of these people that you talk down against or flag their page or write in the comment section, hey, don't like me. Don't donate to him. We want him to suffer. He talked about the queens. All of y'all ain't queens. Some of y'all is fucking poppers and court justices and fucking murderers and killers. Ladies. All right? This week, we've had two stories about one woman who called up and started going live while she was killing or attempting to kill both of her kids, but only killed a little girl. Precious, beautiful little girl. We had another story of a woman from the LBGT community that went and started shooting at a woman down in Memphis, narrowly missing her. The woman was hiding behind her car. The whole car was shot up. I'm going to put that up for y'all later. This was a woman that she worked with. So see, all these women, they're not as innocent as you think they are, but they portray themselves to be innocent when it comes to the point of getting coddled. Yes, I said getting coddled. See, one of the worst things you could ever do as a parent is coddle your child. You can coddle them with so much, but don't coddle them a lot, because what's going to happen is eventually when they get into life, they're going to see that the world is not going to coddle them, as a man specifically. But the women, on the other hand, they have been introduced and given the currency of being able to be coddled, play victim, make fun of, assault, be passive aggressive, etc., 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 even to the point of sometimes, as we see now, physical aggressive. All along, they will sit online and tell you, I can police you. It's really a form of trying to punk you, to be quite honest with you. These women are trying to punk you, and they're letting you know. And this is why I think a lot of them seem to, and I always find it weird, I have to say it again, because this woman wrote this in there too. She said, white audiences are not going to like you. White audiences are not going to like me. Okay, cool. Sure. Whatever you say. They say these little things and they write these little notes because physically you can't beat me, lady. So the only other option you got to do is write benign, insulting comments or whatever, and try to attack my dignity, pride, and reputation. Gotcha. And more importantly enough, they want to attack you monetarily. And that's what they did with Andrew Tate today. See, if they take the money away from you, they take the money away from you. For a lot of us, there ain't no reason to be on here. I'm not on here to give things away voluntarily and for free. And I never even said I ever said I was. There, at 100% ratio, I've only divulged to YouTube maybe 15% of what I've known or what I've seen. 15%. I give you guys exclusive to things, and somebody will go and flag it and be like, oh, wow, I go up stories about women. You know, some 4 people disliked the story that I put up today about Trader Truth and flagged it. A story I put up about Trader Truth that I was just telling y'all the other day. I have 4 women that come to my page every day. And no matter what I put up, they will flag it. No matter what I put up, they will push thumbs down. And they don't even pay attention to what they do. And if I really wanted to be correct about it, I think it's 3 women and 1 man. That's what I really think it is. And what they hope to achieve out of this is they hope to achieve that I will not rise above their flagging. I will not rise above their downing and the posts. I will not rise beyond their comments that they write on GoFundMe or whatever. They are hoping that they break you down. Doesn't that sound familiar? Sounds like what Master used to do, didn't he? What they used to call it, buck breaking. Some of y'all boys call it, don't you? Tariq and Umar, you call it buck breaking. Well, now your own women are trying to buck break you because they're looking at white men and they're using white men as pawns. And to you, a lot of you white men, sooner or later, you're going to get it. That's why I question how smart some of you are. Now, there's white men out there that do get it. I remember in the movies, Malcolm X. Y'all remember that part where he saw his ex-girlfriend and she had now become a prostitute or whatever? And he was walking right past her. He had already joined the Nation of Islam or whatever. And I forgot what her name was. I'm going to just say Katie or Kathy or something like that or whatever. He said, come on, Kathy. And there was a white man and she got down on her knees, started doing what she do best at that time. And Malcolm just walked right past her. You got to listen to what I'm saying. Malcolm walked right just past her. He didn't even acknowledge her. You know why? Because he said, you're not the same person I remember. And that's what I'm saying about these women. These women are not the same person you remember. These are not your aunties. These are not your moms. These are not your cousins. These are not your female friends or whatever that you may have grown up with. These women are a different batch of women, and they are bent on supremacy. They want to control you. They want to police you. They want you to come at their every whim because if they do, they feel like at that point they have control. And it really expounds beyond control of just you, sir, or flagging your page or trying to stop your message or stop you from having the constitutional right to speak openly as you want to as a citizen of the United States. No, it expands way further than that. See, these women hope to have domination. See, supremacy owns to domination. And domination of a society means that everybody thinks, acts, and moves according to the tenets of who I am as a female. And anything that you do to disrupt that, well, you're a problem. So what I'm telling you is this problem that you're seeing right now is going to get worse. As much as you guys sit back, and I got to say the guys especially, man, the guys especially. Listen, fellas. You got to stop being so thirsty. $40 will take you a long way. Trust me on this. $40 will take you a long way. Spend your $40. Stop spending thousands like I did in my other live. And I told you guys, I could blame the Instagram models or whatever, but at the same time, I got to blame the guys too because y'all over there subscribing, making these bras rich. Yeah. You're over there making these bras rich. So how can I get mad at the Instagram girl? I mean, the OnlyFans girl because she found a dip in the market. She's got a consumer base, an age-old consumer base that goes all the way back to Mary Magdalene. Prostitution, the oldest profession in the book. This new age that put on digital. Yeah. So when I sit back and I examine things and I look at things and I say, okay, well, where did the men play part in this? Well, I'll tell you where you play part in it. A lot of you motherfuckers are enablers. That's where you play a part in it. You're enablers. You allow these women to talk any way they want to, call you niggas, and when they're addressing you as a man. You ever notice that in any of the podcasts with the women? Well, the way niggas be, I can count 1,000,001 times I've heard a woman say that on freaking what's her name. And sometimes they'll try to pass it on to the white dudes, and the white dudes will be like, hold up. I don't even like the word. I don't like you addressing me as that. And I will explain to any of you guys, if you ever date a woman and she refers to you as her nigga, well, that was a term of ownership at one time. That's my nigga. Come on, nigga. Get in the buggy, nigga. Make sure you tend to the field, nigga. Our dinner service is ready, nigga. Any woman that refers to you as a nigga in the term of endearment as her man in reality, you need to leave that chick real quick. It's not going to end up right. Any woman that you see, I'm talking to men of all ages, any woman that you encounter and they automatically try to take the helm and try to control you, you need to separate yourself from that. If not momentarily, for good. Any woman that comes towards you and comes in your circle and she comes with drama or she's talking real loud. Any of y'all ever notice this? You're walking past a girl. This is how I always know a lot of black women of today if they like me or find me interested, because they wouldn't do this if they didn't, right? Black and Latin women. They'll walk past you. Tell me, fellas, if y'all can relate. They'll walk past you and you won't hear a word or a peep on the phone. You won't even hear them talking to anybody. As soon as they get in front of your face to try to make you to recognize them, they'll start talking all loud. This is all in accord to feed their ego. They want you to stare at them. They want you to interact, and hopefully the probability that you'll come up and speak to them. These are desperate women, because only desperate women do that. I've been around bad chicks all my life and dated bad chicks all my life, and I can tell you straight up, any woman that has any type of tenure about her, it doesn't have to do that. You don't have to walk past men and start talking all loud on the cell phone. And not to mention, it looks kind of childish and it's annoying. Or when you get around some chick and she starts talking mad loud for no reason, and you're like, why are you talking that loud? You know? Give me 1 second, guys. Hope you guys can hear me a little bit better now. I forgot I still had the Bluetooth connected, but hey, these are some good headphones, huh? Any women that you find that do things like this or whatever, it's usually a segue that they come from a certain type of background. This is how their mother has acted. This is how their aunts acted. You know, she was that chick, pardon me from grabbing D-Ray's clip right, but beep, beep. Now come on now, chick. I'm coming. You know, she was that chick back in the day. You know what I mean? That was your mama. And your mama raised you to do that. You don't believe me on this? There was a woman down in Texas. This recently got, I don't know if she got arrested or she got reprimanded. She told a 14-year-old girl, you should become a real prostitute. This is what she told a 14-year-old girl that she worked for the Department of Child Services. Y'all ain't see that? She told a 14-year-old, I'll repeat to you, this woman, because you know that's how they like to start out the sentence a lot of time, as a woman. Well, what are you? I thought you was an aardvark. Damn, those type of women do it in front of other women as well. I've seen it happen so many times. See that? And that's what I'm talking about. This is a behavior that, and I'm gonna do this on another live because I don't want to break that all down right here and that, but I know what you're saying. These are two tiers of women that exist in different age ranges. You got yours in the 20s that are on one side, and then those on the 20s on another side, 30s the same, 40s the same, 50s the same. Let me tell you what I mean by that. You have women that apply by these things or whatever. They say, yeah, this is the way to get it. This is the way to the gold. Then you have a whole group of other women that speak all against that are totally against that, and more traditional and more realistic when it comes to marriage, when it comes to relationships or whatever. The other part that I don't see and I find kind of weird, as our women, quote unquote, because my mother's black, as our women, you give birth to us, you raise us, right? If you're a single parent household, you're raised solely by these women. These are the women that raise us. Many of these women that are online and attacking other men, they have sons. They have sons. They have sons. I'm going to say it one more time. They have sons. And the best response you could ever give to one of these chicks is they kind of get passive aggressive with you, and especially if they're older. I've learned this a long time ago and I adapted to myself. I'd be like, and I've said this before to a woman, be like, you know, I have a mother too, right? And they will look at you in the weirdest way. That's all you have to say. You know, I have a mother too, right? Or say, you know, I'm a black woman's son too, right? And what do you think she would do if she saw you interacting with me like the way you are right now? See, that's what I'm trying to tell you. A lot of these chicks, they choose to pop off at certain times and they won't do it in front of other women. So say you were there with your two sisters, or you were there with your auntie that's real wild and known for cracking a couple heads back in the day, or you were with your crazy grandmother that's still at 50 something years old will get it in with somebody, or whatever the case may be, 60 something years old will still get it in with somebody, crack somebody in the head. They won't insult you or jump in your face or any of that when you're around them. I can guarantee you that. I can guarantee you that. Just like I was talking about earlier today, over here in this neighborhood I live in, there's a couple of dudes that want to act tough and act like they're hardcore or whatever. And I say, well, you got your shit reserved. Because if I was in front of all 6 of my homeboys right now that I hang with real tough, and one of them's like 6'5" and 300 something pounds, you wouldn't pop off like that. You wouldn't even think about it. Matter of fact, you would walk right past me with your head down in the ground, as I've witnessed when I'm walking with them or been with them in New York and clubs and everywhere else. That's what you would do. But people, cowards more specifically, they pick their times. And that's what a lot of these girls are, and these men. They're cowards. Now, little do you know, give me 1 second. Little do you know, you might be getting ready to mess with somebody and your life could be in danger. You know what I mean by that? A lot of people go by what they see and face, right? They go by what they see and they hear an octave or whatever, and they make a base decision on, oh, well, we can get over on them. This is what happened to that guy that was down there in Brooklyn that wanted to turn up in that man's grocery store, and that man ended up stabbing him in the neck and killing him. This is what happened in another store out in California when these 2 young men decided they wanted to run into a store. And they said, oh, that's an old man. He's 80 years old. He's an easy catch. That old man pulled out a shotgun and shot that kid and killed him. That's what happened in the other store out in Seattle, Washington, when the kids ran up into the smoke shop. All this happened in the past 2 weeks. The kids ran up into the smoke shop and got stabbed the fuck up by the owner, and one of them died. Because you thought in your mind that there's a template of who looks tough and who looks soft. And that's what the same thing these women run on. They have a template based on raggedy men that they've grown up with, raggedy men that they pay attention to and they admonish, that have been in and out of jail or whatever the case may be, most of the time never done much with their lives. You understand? That's one thing that I always notice. When you ever see these girls, they turn up and they start talking like guys or whatever, that's the type of guy she's been around all her life. Ruffian, nasty, loser ass men that has been in and out of jail, 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 in and out of jail. I know the story. You can't fool me. So when a lot of times when you see these girls pop off, fellas, and they're trying to police you or whatever, it's actually attributes of the same family dynamic they come from. Meaning the mama used to treat them like that. Meaning the daddy used to treat them like that if he was around. He was always prying in their information. He was always turning up in the house. They emulate what they've been around. That's when I hear a woman talk rough or she can't articulate or whatever, I'm like, no, 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 no. It's only supposed to be one rough person in this relationship, and that's me. You understand? And the reason I say this is because it's not dependent on you if we get into a situation. I'm not saying you can't help, because I've had that situation before too. I had one of my ex-girlfriends, crazy Italian chick, chase down a chick and beat the shit out of her because this chick hit me with a bottle because she didn't like something I said. I still got the scar on the back of my head. I was outside smoking a cigarette. Chick walks by me. Many people that know me, if you see this, you'll know exactly who I'm talking about. Chick, she ran past me, smashes the bottle on the back of my head because she was mad about something I said. I think I said something to the effect of, I think she's pretty or whatever. They were talking about something or whatever. But it was definitely around the realm of prettier. Okay. And like I said, ain't nothing more that you could say more insulting to an ugly woman. Yes, I did. I said it. A ugly woman. Because this is at the helm of this problem. Ugly women. And most people, they too scared to say it. Ugly and fat women are the helm of what's going on right now in this whole gender war. Ugly and fat women. And if we just took that away and we just had pretty women in the diaphragm, you would find a whole different dynamic. Whole different dynamic. But the way, and the reason I know this is because I watched Just Pearly Things a couple of times and I seen what she chested up to. I like that girl. And she said, listen, I'm realistic on the last show. She said, I'm realistic. I have some pretty girlfriends, and I know if I go into a club with them, the first thing that's going to happen is the guys are going to point all the direction and attention to her first versus me. Now, Pearl's not an ugly woman. You know what I'm saying? Pearl's got some beautiful legs, if you ask me. But she knows her dynamic. The other girls that were sitting on the couch, and this, ironically enough, they happen to be black girls in this particular show. Not to say that it's paramount to just them, but they wasn't attractive. These girls were overweight, and the one girl said, "Well, I'm a 10 to me." That's the other one y'all got to watch out for. I'm going to teach y'all some terms so y'all know. The one to watch out for, if you didn't catch it earlier, what I feel like, watch that shit. You know you're about to be led into some bullshit. The next one will be like, the next one that'll follow behind that is something that's similar to that. Well, I can't understand. Make me understand. These are all tendencies to be sarcastic while they're sitting there and they're trying to think of something so they can pulse it and post it like it's their own. You understand what I'm saying? No, these are theories that you have, young lady. They're not realities. And what you're talking about is you're talking about the seldom, every now possibility versus the normal norm in society. And I think that's where we've gotten to right now. We've gotten to a point that women are directing the traffic as far as socially and emotionally you can go, and I'm not having it. And I'm not talking about good women. I'm not talking about good women. No, 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 no. I'm talking bad women. Bad women. Women that kill. Women that are out for, that have anger built up in them so deep that you couldn't even define it if you wanted to. There are some women out here that are so evil and so bitter and so mad and so out for blood and vengeance from men that did absolutely nothing to them. And really, the only person they have to really regulate to it is the people that were in their home or in their social dynamic when they were growing up. It's sickening. And I say to you guys this, men, there's a way around this. And we could change the paradigm. Y'all got to listen here, okay? And I'm going to make this quick because it doesn't take a lot of explaining. The first thing y'all got to do is you got to start supporting each other. Okay? Within this whole diaphragm of this whole new women's suffrage, faux women's suffrage movement, because in my opinion, women have more entitlees now than they ever have. But in this whole women's suffrage movement thing or whatever, one of the things that y'all have not noticed, maybe some of y'all have noticed, is the women, particularly the women that were donating to you before, they're not donating to you anymore. Have you noticed that? Yeah, the economy's got a little bit to do with it. Inflation's got a little bit to do with it. Everybody gets scared when there's not a lot of money coming out. I get that. But even in small increments, what you're seeing is a lot of male YouTubers are not getting subscribers to donate to them, specifically black male subscribers and black male YouTubers and Latin male YouTubers. I'm finding this a lot. It trickles down to all men, but those particular groups the most because I hear them complaining the most. Most of the YouTubers that I follow either black or Latino, and a lot of whites too, but the majority of them. Even in the comment section, hitting the like button, things like that is an issue, right? And you say to yourself, why is that? Because these women, do you not know, even though they'll come to your page, they also subscribe to 20 to 30 other different toxic women. And within that diaphragm of listening to those toxic women have all kinds of plans that they divulge or whatever. Look, ladies, this is what we're going to do. I say we stop donating to them. And being that most of these women that go follow these ladies are exactly that, followers. What happens is they start up a momentum. And they say, well, so and so said we ain't gonna donate to men this week and see what happens. I got you 1 second in there. And so then what happens subsequently after that is the men start seeing the results of that. And it's really out of jealousy. It really is. So what happens is the men start losing their donations or whatever. And the women point out, well, how come the men ain't supporting the men? And they got a point. See, one of your weakest points is, boys, you ever heard of, I don't know how much y'all know about military strategy, but in military strategy, one of the main things you don't want to do is you never want to have loose points. You understand what I'm saying? Even the Greeks practiced this. That's what they did, the thing with the shield or whatever, so they wouldn't have any weak points. It's military strategy, old military strategy. You don't want to have any weak points. When you have weak points, you could be penetrated. Pause. You could be penetrated. Your line of defense can be penetrated. Your line of offense can be penetrated. You understand what I'm saying? Planned or not planned. And so right now, that's an opening where y'all can be penetrated. And if you don't get what I'm saying, this is what I mean. More of you guys, especially guys of color, have got to get off your high horse. Your future depends on it. And the world that you're living in also depends on it in the future. And I'm going to tell you why. As we start beginning to have a norm of women supporting other women monetarily and men not supporting other men monetarily, regardless of age, and sitting back and saying to yourself, well, I'm a real man. I'm a real man. There's so many of these fuckers out here. I'm a real man. How? What have you been doing for the past 15 years? Ask them that question. When they say, I'm a real man, ask that same fella that's asking that or says he's an alpha or whatever the fuck. What have you gotten accomplished in the past, let's say 10 years, 15 years? What have you aimed for in the past 10 years, 15 years? This necessarily may have not just come true because of whatever reason. Ask them questions like that. And once you start doing that, you'll start seeing things dissolve right in front of you and evolve right in front of you who this person really is. No, you're a little boy. You're a mama's boy. And you think because you protect your mama, you think that makes you a man. You think because you go work out and you lift weights, that makes you a man. Your physique makes you a real man. I can bench press 200. Okay, you a real man. But nothing what they have done in their life is reflective of being what the responsibility is of a man. Imagine if you had some older white man running around with a lumberjack hat on or whatever the case may be. Talking about, I'm a real man. You don't see that. You'll very rarely hear a white man call himself an alpha because it's so definitive of what an alpha really is, or a beta, or a sigma. Very definitive what it is. And it's not the definition that these people are giving out. It's something that they clinched onto because it makes them feel good. So now we have this new terminology of alpha females. What she believes is a woman that goes to college and gets herself educated and brings herself out of poverty and never to return to poverty. And I will never live around the poor people that are in poverty now. Sound about correct? Because when you hear these women talk about what they have gotten from their independence, quote unquote, they always talk about something monetarily. I got a new bag. I can take care of myself. I got my own car. I got my own apartment. You're supposed to have that shit. You're normal as fuck. And I don't care if you're worth $100,000 or $1 million. My ex-boss is worth damn near $1 billion now. I think he's like 2-3 million, if not already a billionaire. And there's a couple other men that are worth billions too. The only billionaires you get into that are women is when you get far overseas. You know what I mean? When you get into Africa, Africa has many of different black female billionaires. When you get into Europe, Europe has many of different female billionaires, or many different multiple nationalities and ethnicities, but specifically in the EU and Europe. So that accomplished for you is a personal accomplishment. And what we're trying to get confused is your personal accomplishment is being exalted and put in the fray that all women are like this when they're not. I just gave you three stories. One woman was promoting a 14-year-old girl in Texas, and she's on camera to become a prostitute, a real prostitute. I gave you another story that happened in Memphis where a black woman was shooting at her black female co-worker because she said something she didn't like. I gave you another story of a woman that was a black woman that turned around and killed her, well, attempted to kill both kids and killed one kid and did it all on live. And that's not the first time it's happened. She did it on Facebook Live, streamed her killing her kids. And y'all give them excuses. Oh, well, she was mentally challenged. She was da 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 da. But men will not get that same challenge. If they will not get that same excuse put in the same breath. Women get online every day and they're butt naked. I've gone on Instagram and literally couldn't open it up in public because of some of the freaking posts that were up there from some of these girls. I literally couldn't open it up in public because if I did, I would be looked at as a pervert. What that motherfucker do? He just be following everything, huh? Some of these girls that put up these posts or whatever, this is why I say the men fall in the fray. Some of these women that put up these posts or whatever the case may be, they got boyfriends and husbands. Do you know that? Some of these girls that got OnlyFans accounts have boyfriends, husbands, and in some cases, families. And I can't say but so much about a man that would allow his woman to get butt naked. I don't even care if it was a nipple. I don't care if it was a loose piece of a underwear hanging out. That's my girl. And you're letting your woman, for the sake of money, operate, seduce, and entice men every night for a couple of dollars. And I remember guys like this 10 years ago before OnlyFans started. And these guys, they would be the same one that would let their girl go to the strip club and make money and come back home to him. That's a weak ass man right there. I don't care what you say. One other thing that person wrote in that little letter they wrote me on GoFundMe, because it was a letter. I was like, damn, you wrote all that, but you could have just donated. It would have been short of a time. But one thing she wrote in there, And she said, I'm trying to think of the last little thing she said that kind of just gave me a tickle or whatever. It'll come to me in a minute, but I just want to go into something else before I go back to that because I want to say it completely. But there was a female tonight. I stopped by a show, and I always do the same thing when I see female YouTubers because a lot of female YouTubers are full of shit. A lot of them. A lot of female YouTubers are fucking con artists, really. And the same tools that they use when they're trying to seduce a man in real life, they abort it online. A lot of people don't peep that. I do. I know a scallywag when I see one. I know a thought when I see one. I know a skeezer. A skeezer. I know one when I see one. All right. Trust me on that. This is probably why I'm not married. I know a whore when I see one. I know there's a difference between a whore, a promiscuous woman, a woman that likes to have sex, and a woman that's just flirtatious. And hey, if it's a one night stand or whatever the case may be, then that's just what happened. That doesn't define her as a woman. I know the difference. I also know the difference between ugly women that are desperate and pretty women that have mental problems and desperate themselves. I know the difference. I've dated a lot of beautiful women in my lifetime. What I'm saying to this is this. These women that get online today, these YouTubers, tonight I went to a YouTuber's page that I was quite fond of. I even actually promoted her on here. And I'll talk about that another time too. Because if y'all ever follow my community section, y'all see that I share a lot of YouTubers. And you'll never get that thank you back. In fact, they will put prerequisites in front of you to tell you, you got to get right here before I'll share you. But you share me every week. See, this was the thing with Andrew Tate. Andrew Tate depends on people sharing him. You understand what I'm saying? That's how you rise. Y'all make sure y'all share this too. But in the event of that, let me get back on board here. I'm in the chat room, and this girl comes in, and already the host herself, she has a crop top where her breasts are exposed. All right, this is a fine woman, good looking woman, Puerto Rican woman, right out of the Bronx. So that's why I started paying attention. I used to live there for a minute, so well more than a minute, but you know what I mean. So I supported her. I go around there. I go to Brooklyn. I'm still around. And so I said, well, let me support her, whatever. So I think she's from Highbridge, just based on her accent. All the people over there in Highbridge, they got like their own accent. And they over there. Shout out to Highbridge. Shout out to Six Train Fordham. Y'all know what I'm talking about. But she brought in another woman on camera, right? It's a female YouTuber. She brought in another female on camera. And this woman tried to do the same thing. And it looks like she had rushed into her room. She said, what do I have low cut too so I can one up this chick? Because that's what Blacks and Latinos like to do. They like to one up each other all the time. And look what I got. Look what I got. Never in consent ever posing that same thing or that same energy towards somebody that's white in society because they'll think automatically they already have a high echelon of where they hold them at. You understand if that makes any sense? And so I wrote in the chat room because I like to do this because I like to see how they're gonna respond. And once you see how they respond, a lot of times you can see who the real them is. You understand what I'm saying? That's why I said it pays to be yourself online versus trying to put out and project this character of who you want to be. You understand? Because you're always gonna have those moments when you break character. You're always gonna have those moments where you break character when you're trying to keep up a lie or a facade. So the woman that came in, I said this and I wrote it in the chat room. I said she has mom, and then I put two melons. I said she has mom boobs versus Jen. Now Jen, I said her name, my fault. The lady that was hosting the podcast was definitely older than her, but she looked better than her. All right. This woman looked like she was around about 32, 33 years old, but after three or four kids. You understand what I'm saying? Which is usually the case a lot of times over in the Bronx. A lot of those girls over in the BX, let's keep it a buck, them girls are ran through and done with by 22 a lot of times. You know? A lot of those girls, they come straight from the islands. They've been prostituting since they were 13, 14, 15 years old, right in the Bronx, right in Brooklyn, right in Queens. Now, if anybody knows anything about the tri-state, y'all know what I'm talking about. It's true. It happens out here too. Go to Hartford, go to Bridgeport, you'll see the same thing. But my point is, this woman, then proceeded to put me in timeout because she didn't like what I said. Mind you, this same woman will sit on her podcast, and being a Latin woman, her whole premise of her show was about black men tonight. Can they come back together? Are they a monolithic society and all this shit or whatever, whatever? And I was surprised because I was like, well, if you were half black, it would make sense, you know? But there's so many problems that your own men have. Your own men socially, economically, which many of us know, don't match up. Many of these men, they work blue collar jobs, many gardeners, hand work, work that doesn't require any, and mostly running their own business, works that doesn't require the same education levels as you do. And what they'll do is, based off that, they'll try to deduce your college education based on what they're currently doing, not realizing what you're currently doing has a max on it as far as your body is concerned, maybe 15, 20 years. While me sitting in front of a computer screen, that can go on infinitely. They think in the moment, and they get little trinkets and things like that. Used car, a couple dollars in the bank, maybe 20, 30,000 in the bank. You think 20, $30,000 is going to save you the rest of your life? You think a new home with a mortgage on it, that's really a used home, that's been there probably since 60 something, 70 something. I lived in a set of condos that were built in the 1990s, mid 1990s, and they had problems. You get an old house that's beyond 60, 70, or even further back to 1930, 40 or something like that, you're going to have to do a whole bunch of refurbing. And in some cases, that refurbing that you have to do is going to cost more than the purchase price for that home. She blocked me. So you know what I did? I ain't argue with her or nothing else. She put me in timeout. I said, fuck this chick. I hit unsubscribe and block that broad. I said, you phony ass bitch. Hey, for real. I hate phony bitches online. I really do. There's this other one. Her name is I ain't gonna say her name. There's another woman on here. I found out she was phony as fuck too. She gets on there and she talks about, yeah, these women, she talks about women, but talks about women in a way that I wouldn't talk about men on here. Like I wouldn't talk about men in a certain point because I'd be like, okay, that's damaging myself. I'm a man. But she talks about women in such a damaging point that you could see through it and see, yo, it's Chuck. You understand what I'm saying? Oh man. But the women that listen to her and the men that listen to her, they eat it up. They eat it up. You want to sell somebody black or Latin, just lie to them and sell them a dream. Trust me. I sold dreams for 17, almost 18 years through the record industry. You got to sell a dream, a lifestyle, as Puff would call it. Sell a dream and a lifestyle. They will follow behind you. You don't believe me? He's almost worth $1 billion. Got some continence to it, doesn't it? Sell them a dream they can believe in, and they will follow you and follow you to the end. I'm not here to sell dreams. I'm here to sell reality. And I see where this interaction, lack of interaction, lack of respect, and everything else that I've never seen this before, and I don't think generations before has ever seen this before between the genders right now. And I'm saying to you, what it's leading to is your population numbers to shrink. That's why I think it was intended for. I think the whole argument was intentionally, if you pay attention to it, I say it like this. Biden brought in the LBGT era. Obama brought in the LBGT era with the whole lighting of the White House and the rainbow and everything like that. I ain't got nothing against that. It is what it is. But he ushered that in, as well as laws and acceptance and everything. All this began with Obama, right? Biden issued in my opinion, the women's feminist movement based on his electees that he put in positions or whatever, whatever. And these are not women considered to the point of being women. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about these are women with an agenda. These are women with a clear-cut agenda, whether that agenda be bringing in more immigrants, whether that agenda be in whatever the case may be. Those two periods right there that you've seen, the reason you've seen so much difference in society isn't because of Trump. I don't believe that at all. I believe it's because of Obama. He was the one that issued in the LBGT thinking patterns or whatever that were induced into the schools on a rapid rate or whatever, and to the point I've never seen it before. We have a book out this right now called the Gay BCs. Now I'm not making fun of the LBGT community. I'm not attacking them. I've got friends that are in the LBGT community. Trust me, that's not what I'm saying. And even people within those communities will tell you, hey, some of this is too much. That's what I found. A lot of these people will tell you this is too much. Having trans women read to children that are 3 or 4 years old and basically force feeding them and telling them this is set this is really conditioning your kids to be already brainwashed into whatever the case may be, or whoever they become, or whatever they accept in the future. Quite a far cry from what we had even 5 years ago. Okay. Obama, in my opinion, ushered that in. And he ushered that in strategically because he did it on the second portion of his tenure or constituency as president. Now here we come in and we have Donald Trump. Now I think Donald Trump ushered in the white pride, but it was faux white pride. I think Donald Trump went after them rednecks because he knew they would vote for him. I really do think that. And I don't think he was severe as what Biden has done. Biden has literally, because none of this hardcore liberal feminist, toxic feminist bullshit was going on when he was in office. I'm going to say that much. But Biden, he made sure that was his top protocol. And he showed it by the electees he picked and pointed in position. He showed it by the Congress that centers around him. He showed it by the electees that spoke for him, Eon and EOC or whatever. You know what, guys, I spoke about him the other day when I was up in front of Trump Tower for you guys. If you haven't seen that live, go back and check it. I said this in front of there, if you can't catch it. Yeah, I'm that type of journalist. I go out, I move around. This is one of the rare times you'll catch me because people ask me that all the time. How come you always moving around? Or your joints look chalky because you over here, you over there. You're not peeping where I'm at. I went to Trump Hotel. You notice nobody out there bothered me. Nobody came up to me except for one guy that didn't know me at the very beginning of the video. And if you listen to what I say to him, and he was a black police officer, I said, well, everybody up here knows me. I don't know you though. And he walked right off from me. And the reason I said that to him because he did very strategically. He walked up to me, then walked around me, and then positioned himself right behind me and started staring at my phone. I said, who the fuck are you? Everybody in this building know me. That's why I walked to the front of the building before I left, if y'all watched the video. And I sat there and I said, yeah, this guy's black, that guy's Mexican, and that guy in the back, he knows me too. All those guys know me. And they just know me for coming up. They know me for 10, 15 years. You couldn't do that. You understand what I'm saying? Now they're going to tell you to move the fuck along. That's what he wanted to tell me until I told him that. Anyway, back to the subject. The point was, I move around. You understand? And I make sure I take out the locations and things like that or whatever. These women will sit in the comfortability of their motherfucking home and complain about everything that's going on in the world. And think, unless it folds around her, there can be no solution. But at the same time, they will be sitting on their lives and talking about, okay, who's the nigga we gonna take down this week? Girls. It's always a plan with a lot of these women to think in that nasty tone. And I honestly and truthfully believe Joe Biden ushered in that tone for them. You understand what I'm saying? If not so, tell me when this was going on full-fledged like this when Obama was president. Tell me when it was going on full-fledged like this when Trump was president. Now, I'm not acknowledging either one of them, and I'm not throwing them up on a high tier, either one of them. But I'm just asking you, tell me when this was going on to the capacity that it is right now. You won't be able to. And like I said, I'm not siding for any three of those presidents because all of them are terrible in one sense or another. But what I'm saying to you, in their own respectable way, not meaning like they're terrible people, because I don't know them personally. But one thing I will say is, when Trump was in office, none of this shit was going on to the complexity that it is right now. This is all Biden's needlework and doing. Y'all make sure y'all hit that like button if y'all could for me, please. This is all Biden's like work, Birdie. And you can see it from the people he appoints, Ketanji Brown Jackson and many other females that he's appointed or whatever, strategically appointed these women. You think it was a coincidence that a woman that had a white husband and biracial kids was a judicial pick for the Supreme Court? Mind you, there were women and men that were more qualified than her, which they never bring up. They were more qualified than her. I'll say it again, that were more qualified than her. That in some cases they were, one of them was, I forgot what his name was, but that one gentleman, his wife was like, he was a scientist and his wife was like something in Congress or something like that. Like they were way better people that would have fit the bill, but they pawned her out because she had a white husband. I don't care what nobody says. Because they needed somebody to watch. I said this right in front of Trump Tower. This ain't nothing new that I'm saying. I saw when I saw that gal and I saw how they were sitting there and they were homing her into questioning or whatever. I said, oh, that's a gal. Not to be mistaken for a black woman or a Latin woman. AOC is a gal. You notice that she shut the fuck up. When was the last time you saw AOC in a talking point on news? Go ahead, I'll wait. See, these gals, when you put these gals in position, or these old boys in position, or you put these Jaspers in position, one thing that you can always be clear of, they're going to do what they told. They're going to do what they told. That's why they put them there, because they're going to do what they told. And these slapping, slappy, happy, raccoon fucking motherfuckers, I'm sorry. They're the worst because they're easy to control. I've ran into people like this. I remember even when I was working up at Bad Boy, they would have security guards there sometimes. They'd be the first motherfucker try to give you a hard time. But let white folks walk in. He could be walking in with the bomb right now. You don't know that. Do you now? Hakeem. They always got names like that. Hakeem, Yusef, some shit like that. Make them feel proud, you know. But and that's no offense to anybody that's named those names. But I just find that discondescent with that. The ones that always talk the most and talk the proudest, they always name shit like that or whatever. And I had somebody come in my chat room. It's like, your name is Davin. This is when I changed my name back to the title it actually was. And they was like, your name is Davin? It's like, yeah, my name is Davin, Davin Lewis. I have a powerful fucking name. I walk into a room and you say your name is Yusef Jenkins, and I say my name is Davin Lewis. You see who's going to get more attention. You might not think that in your mind, but I guarantee you, it doesn't matter how loud you talk or whatever. Usually the guys that in that world, the loud talkers are ignored. Ultimately, the loud talkers are always ignored. If you're a constant loud talker, sooner or later you'll just get ignored. Trust me on this. People don't like loud talkers outside the black and Latin diaspora. They really don't. As a whole, most people don't like loud talkers. I'm not a loud person myself. This is probably the loudest I ever get right here online with YouTube with you guys. But this in closing, because I'm gonna end this or whatever. Not here to ask for your cash apps or whatever. If you want to donate, you can. $ STRINGERBELL 80. Once again, I just like to say, especially if you're a man here watching, not only did a woman donate to me today, and I want to shout out to Annette, thank you, but she donated significantly to me, and she has before. And I want to point and acknowledge that out. She's not just a good woman because of that. She's a person that I like talking to. I felt terrible this week because I was like, I got so much shit going on. I don't have an hour or two like we usually get in our conversations and talk, but we will tomorrow, no doubt about it. But I want to encourage you to donate like she did if you do. And that's $ STRINGERBELL 80. You can find a link down below in the description box. It'll also be in the pinned comment. And that's if you choose to. I hope you would. This is how we make our money. YouTube is a business. And as I mentioned before, I'm not partnering with AdSense because I like talking plain and talking the way I'm talking right now. If I was partnered with AdSense, I would have been flagged 10 minutes ago. You know what I mean? For the stuff, the way I have to produce it to y'all, because most of you don't want to hear a cookie cutter version of what I'm talking about. There's no cookie cutter way to talk about gender war. There's no cookie cutter way to talk about oppression. There's no cookie cutter way to talk about racism or any of that, if y'all can get what I'm saying. And so for me to be able to continue that and still make it profitable for myself, that's the format we have to go through for right now, whatever. And I just want to encourage anybody and say to them, if you're a bum enough to, or put somebody up to, or in fact yourself, waste and spend time making up a fake email, there's something wrong with you. And I think there's something wrong with a lot of these girls. And I'm going to start talking about these girls' mental health in a minute, because the men and the women both have problems, but I don't date men. You understand what I'm saying? But I want to start talking about the mental health of some of these women because, like I said, this was a paragraph that was written to me, and it was very specifically targeted to trying to make me angry or attempt to make me angry or whatever the case may be. I just laughed at it. I was like, oh, well, you didn't donate. I don't give a shit. You probably don't have nobody to donate. That's why you know what I mean. You think I'll write this and I'll show them. It's all a fucking con and reverse psychology. A lot of this shit that these girls are doing when they're on these shows or whatever, whatever, is reverse psychology. That's all it is. It's a low form of reverse psychology too. You know, 10th grade twattage. You know what I mean? 10th grade twattage. But I'm gonna teach y'all guys how to circumnavigate against at least most of it. It's gonna be a hit or miss. It's gonna be a few of them you miss, and you'll have to take the tap on the chin or whatever. This is like any other good fight, but you at least will be more prepared. So maybe that's something I can offer or whatever, and show you young boys especially how to stop lusting and start using your motherfucking common sense. Y'all niggas are walking into fucking brick walls where you're getting these whores pregnant, having kids by them. And now they're taking you into court. You saw what Brittany Renner did. Brittany Renner got pregnant. She heard that a man got an advance on his basketball career. I'm going to file for a divorce. And now she's getting $200,000 a month for the next 18 years. 3/4 of that man's salary yearly. That's not a woman of intrigue. That's not a woman of opulence. That's a whore. There's many other women that do it. They marry these men of opulence. I've seen it. I saw it 17 years in a row. I see these girls come out of nowhere. That sometimes they thought we was just as rich as a star. Sometimes, don't you know? The girls would come to us or whatever. Oh God, I've had women from England, everywhere you could think of. You know what I mean? Come to hang out with us or whatever. Never had a problem. Never had an issue or whatever. You know what I'm saying? That's a fact. Never had a problem. Never had an issue. But in today's time, would I have those same women in my hotel room? Hell no. Not without you signing the NDA. I don't know you. We had one chick I can remember that worked for the local. I think it was a Miami Herald, and I think this was a time before last when we were down there. They stopped sending us down there because they had a shootout down there, and 2 cops got hit. It made the news. It's still I'll try to find the clip of it. But this woman came to our hotel room, and she worked for one of the local newspapers down there. And she actually wasn't there to see me or my other man, who I just saw this recently. Shout out to Mo. Mo, what up? You know what I mean? So she wasn't there to see me or my man, but somehow or another, she ended up in the room with us. And she went from wanting to sleep with me to wanting to sleep with my homeboy. But originally, she was there to sleep with my other man. It's as funny as it sounds. And so ultimately, we ended up just kicking her out because she was causing problems. This is a beautiful hotel we were in. This is the first hotel I ever been in. It had a bouvet, balcony, stove inside the room. It was a very nice room, and it had all the amenities you could think of in one room. It was very beautiful. And so I thought to myself from that point on, I said, okay, there's women out here for the sake of a story or for the sake of whatever that will set you up. Had we kept that woman in our room, God knows what would have happened and what she would have went back and wrote in that newspaper. And the only thing she could write in that newspaper now was, I got kicked out by the bad boy dudes. And on a scale of 1 to 10, she was like a strong 4.5 without the makeup, probably. Strong 5 with the makeup. You know what I mean? Hardly worth arguing over. That's why I tell you guys, start looking at some of these women that are talking. Like, even if you have to turn down the volume while you're watching a podcast, because a lot of times I get caught up in the vernacular and the octave of these women's voices, meaning they talk real pleasant or whatever, whatever. Like, there was this woman online not even 2 weeks ago. This woman looked like Magilla Gorilla. Y'all seen that video floating around? Real dark skinned fat girl or whatever, but she talks real cleverly, articulately. And she was on there and she was talking or whatever. And she was demanding what she do, talking about she don't wash dishes and all this stuff or whatever. And I was just thinking to myself, I was like, yo, you look like Grape Ape. Like, you really, like, honestly, I'm not saying this because she was black or anything. I'm not saying that. I mean, I've seen Latin people look like this too. She actually looked like a monkey. You know what I mean? Now, I'm not talking about like a regular monkey. There's some cute monkeys and all that. I'm talking about this woman looked like a gorilla. Like, she was Cro-Magnon, man. And I know y'all seen that video. And if you say anything else other than that, oh, she's beautiful, body positivity, get the fuck off my channel. That bitch was ugly as fuck. That was bad DNA. Whoever, I want to meet the motherfucker that got her that got her mother pregnant. Who the fuck? Y'all ever seen somebody pregnant and be like, who the fuck did that? Have you ever looked at some woman that was pregnant? And right now, if ladies or men, Have you ever looked at a woman and said, who the fuck did that? Who the fuck did that? You know what I mean? Because I have. I've had women walk past me that, and especially the other thing I can't stand, please don't try to flaunt no ugly baby in my face. I can't tell you how many times I've been at the damn grocery store, and these women be in there cuffing their little baby. I'm talking about you two Latinas. Be in there cuffing that little ugly ass baby or whatever. I mean, that little ugly ass baby. That look like bad jeans in a box. We're gonna have to start doing some more conversations about DNA, because that's the problem with a lot of you men. You're going out here, you spreading your seed with any old type of women. A lot of you women are doing the same thing. You're going out here spreading your legs with any old type of man. Don't even take 5 minutes to look into it. Accidents happen, don't get me wrong. People have one night stands, get pregnant, whatever. But I'm talking about if you've been dealing with somebody, you done slept with them 8, 9 times, and then on the 10th time you get pregnant, you knew what you was getting into at that point. You knew what you was getting into. And there's a lot of ugly babies out here as a result of it. Some of these babies look like they missing a chromosome. You ever seen a cat or a dog that's missing a chromosome? Oh my God, they'll look at you like, you thinking the whole time the cat's being cute. No, that cat's retarded. That cat's retarded. You don't believe me? Animals get some of the same physical and mental disabilities as humans. They're mammals. Retardation, blindness, you name it. So you'll have a lot of these kids that come out, and these mothers will be coddling the kids because, and I understand there's different reasons. Some women, they may have not thought they could ever get pregnant. I'm not going to skip that out. Some women, they've had a hard time getting pregnant. I'm not going to skip that out. To some women, that is their miracle baby. But for the rest of you scallywag, dirty, I'll let them hit it in the bathroom ass chicks that get knocked up, you nasty bitches. Let me tell you something. Stop bringing these little ugly ass kids into the world. About 4, 5 different fathers. You know what I'm saying? Like, this shit is ridiculous. And then you go online and talk about, I want a strong compound, really to do man. How do they say it? A wealthy man. I forgot the term they say with that dumb shit. What do they call it? A well-to-do man or whatever the fuck they call it. Whatever. Not saying that stupid shit. I worked for millionaires for almost 18 years. I ain't never said no dumb shit like that. A man of means, a man of worth, all that shit. Hey, real motherfuckers that are rich don't even talk about shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Who's that? I don't know. Some whole I met a dream and compound. What are you gonna do with it? I don't know. I'm gonna try to teach it to swim. If it doesn't work out, I'm gonna set it free. Who's that? I don't know. Some whole I met at the fucking restaurant. I don't know. I said, yeah, you want to go for a ride? Like, you chicks are sitting here trying to define how men think on these shows and everything else, and it's just fucking ridiculous to me because I'm looking at it and I'm like, that's not how I think. I know 20 guys out here that don't think the way I think. What you're doing is you're guessing off the homeboys that you hang around with, and all those motherfuckers are low caliber motherfuckers anyway. So the place that you're getting your info from is a skewed place anyway. I can't listen to motherfuckers that have never made over $10,000 in their life talk in a notion and be compared to people that made $100,000 or more in their life. You understand what I'm saying? Like, we're not in the same conversation, you know? And that's one of the things the person that I remember wrote into my little thing. Said, you think you're so high and mighty, you on top of everything. No, you jealous. You jealous of me. And if you're somebody that knows me, you've always been jealous of me. That's the reality of it. Oh, I know when somebody's jealous of me, trust me. And people are jealous of you for many different ways. It don't have nothing to do with just how you look or how you dress. People get jealous of you for many different reasons. Please believe that. People will try to make you jealous because they are jealous of you. I have men in the neighborhood I live in ride past me in 2001 model cars, Honda CRW Jeeps. Y'all know those Jeeps that are made for women, soccer moms. I had a motherfucker drive slow past me in a minivan one day. I was like, don't you know I will end your life if I think I'm in danger? Okay. Okay. You do what you want to, buddy. You do what you want to. Very dangerous way of acting. Don't assume. I lived in the Bronx. He used to come in with 3, 4 o'clock in the morning from 149th Street, Intervale, some dangerous places, Castle Hill. I ain't never had a problem. You understand? And the 2 times I did have a problem, it wasn't a problem anymore, at least not on my end. There's a police report about that y'all can look up, since y'all like looking up shit. But listen, man, I'm not into that type of game. I'm not into arguing with women. I'm not into arguing with men online either. Only thing I just want to do is just point out some simple things to you guys and say and raise the question: are women and a certain circumference of men, are they online trying to police their own people instead of trying to police people that they should be policing? Go over there and attack Tucker Carlson. Go over there and attack some of these right-wing motherfuckers that are out here talking against you. Go over there and set up an attack mode for Marjorie Greene. And the reason you guys won't do it is because you know there's repercussions that may possibly come off of that. So what I need you men to do is you got to stop coddling these bitches. They'll be like, I don't mean no offense before you say something. I don't mean any offense. I don't mean to disrespect you. No, bitch, I mean to disrespect you. Fuck you. Because a couple years ago back in the game, if Corrupted gave a fuck about a bitch, I'll always be broke. Y'all remember this or whatever? Somewhere along the line, we softened up, And that's softening up. As long as you soften, you adhere to a woman that's in that mentality, she always gonna take you as a fucking joke. You don't believe me? Sit in the house with a woman for 2 or 3 weeks and she pop up in your face and start talking shit to you or whatever. She's testing you, see where you at. And some women, they adhere to a man, not physically putting their hands on them and attacking them or assaulting them, but putting them in check. Bitch, what the fuck wrong with you? I've said it a million times. Bitch, what the fuck is wrong with you? And I don't mean nothing malicious by it, but bitch, what's wrong with you? And the type of women that you guys are dealing with, they're not going to answer to that softy ass shit. Oh, sister queen. Oh, my queen. Oh, beloved, good morning. And all this shit. Good morning, sunshine. Just hilarious. She did a whole fucking skit about that shit. It was fucking hilarious. So I know women out here know what I'm talking about. Shout out to Jess Hilarious for that skit. I was trying to find that shit in the comment section because it was funny. She was like, these motherfuckers that call you up in the morning. Good morning, queen. Good morning, beloved. Do you know that the sunshine is shining outside? These RuPaul soft ass mama raised motherfuckers. I can't stand men that have been raised by their mother. You can just tell the difference between them. They act different. They talk different. The conversation they have is different. Ain't nothing worse in this world than a man that was raised by a bad single mother. I ain't talking about a single mother. There's single mothers out here that did their due diligence, made sure their son got into basketball, made sure their son got into the track, made sure their son got into college, made sure their son got into law school, whatever the case may be, and their daughters as well. There's some good single mothers out here, but at a proportion of about 45%. The rest of these bitches are living all across America's ghettos, Section 8s, and every fucking thing else and raising their kids in these fucking environments. Meanwhile, mommy is driving a 2006 used Mercedes-Benz, pulling right up into the fucking housing projects. That never made any sense to me. Never made any sense to me. How about y'all? Make any sense to y'all? You driving a $30,000, $40,000 vehicle and you pull up into the city housing projects. These are the things that you guys have got to remember. Irregardless, this is what you're up against. And it's not going to change. Men, it's not going to change. It's only going to get worse. So my suggestion to you boys is this. As you move forward and you move into life and you get into dating more and considering marriage and partners and dating or whatever, which at this point, I don't think this is going to reverse. So I would suggest to a lot of you men, you go abroad to find you a wife, find a woman in the Caribbean community and find you a wife. And be very skeptical of the women you find in the Caribbean community because many of them have the same tenets and values as the person they want to be like, which is American women. And I say to a lot of Caribbean women, don't strive to be like American women. It's a bad template to follow, especially a white American woman. Don't follow that template. That's a template that Black American women and Latin American women are trying to follow so closely and emulate so much. And unless you have the actual experience, it's all just an actor or actress role. Guys, that's my time. I'm out of here. I hope I provided y'all enough. I think I got about 7 videos for you guys to go check out down below. We've been at it all day. I will be back with y'all tomorrow with some more subjects and topics. And just like I said, make sure y'all hit that like button. If you're just now tuning in, go back to the beginning of this, see if you can pull something out of that for yourself. And men, don't be afraid to call out an ugly bitch. Don't be afraid to call out a fat chick. Don't be afraid to call out many of things that you see wrong with somebody that's sitting in front of your face and clearly acting as if there's something that they're not, and which we both can see with our own physical eyes. you know. Other than that, guys, y'all have a good night. Make sure y'all hit up the Cash App, $STRINGERBE, $STRINGERBELL80. Also, a link for PayPal and GoFundMe is in the description box. Please don't leave me any long letters and messages or whatever. I'm just going to report you to PayPal again. They're going to investigate your email. They're going to find you as your email. You're going to end up getting banned on social media sites and shit. I don't want that to happen to you, but if so be it, so be it. You guys have a good night. Make sure to donate.